Hey guys, I'm PJ, and this here's Matt.
Hey.
We thought it would be neat for the fall 2014 semester to kind of show you where everything's going to end. We're sitting here in the lobby of the Shelby Center for Science and Technology on the campus of UAH. This is where you guys will come on Friday, December 12th to talk to the judges about what you've done over the whole semester. So we thought it'd be really neat just to start you out here. We have a different way we do this every semester when we start our video. And so we thought it'd be cool just to show you kind of where it's all going to end. And right now, as you can tell by the echo in this room, it's extremely quiet, it's extremely vacated, and there's nothing going on because it's a Saturday afternoon here in August. But when you get here on Friday, December 12th, I'm going to continue to say that date over and over again to make sure you understand. It's going to be packed with people and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you enjoyed this. It's going to be an interesting ride for sure. Talk to you soon. Hello again. We just showed you the end of where it's all going to end right on December 12th. And it would probably be a pretty good idea if we showed you the beginning. And so that's what we're here to do right now. It's called the video introduction, right? This is the introduction and it's by video, hence the name, right? So, just to recap from the last one, just in case you were falling asleep or didn't know what was happening right yet, you'll come up here on December 12th, here to the Shelby Center for Science and Technology on the UH campus, and I'm PJ, this is Matt,
Hey.
right? Mm-hmm. So, what's going to happen over this semester is every other week you're going to see some videos, sorry about that, and then the other week, the other off week, right? We'll come see you. So those will be the kind of fun times we get to laugh and have fun. But in the other weeks, we got some serious business to get to. You got some videos to watch, right? And there's a lot of videos. So I'll just be quite honest with you right now. There's some good ones. And so you need to remember just a little tip right now. If you have a video and you see me talking mostly in it, you're probably going to be more entertained, right? We're going to be able to laugh and enjoy it together. When you get this one over here, not so much, right? So that's not going to work out too well for you. Sorry. Please get lots of caffeine in your body before you watch these videos, because it's not going to work out too well for you if you don't, because you have to watch them over and over again. And I really pity those people, okay? So, insomniacs, this is the cure right here, right? That's what we're after. So, we got these videos. So, we're going to come to you every other week, and sometimes we're going to come to you several times over the couple weeks to talk to you about different aspects of the project that you're doing, okay? So we're going to be flipping some charts back here, some PowerPoint slides. They are not intended for you to be able to see right now. Right now I'm standing in front of it. Matt's really standing in front of it because he's too freaking tall for some reason. So you're not supposed to be able to see this stuff on the screen. You're just supposed to see, there's a screen. There's something behind them that's talking, right? You're supposed to listen to what we say because you can get the presentations. You can download them from the InSPIRESS website, okay? It's really simple, www.InSPIRESS, INSPIRESS, right?
Correct.
.org. We're engineers, so we don't spell InSPIRESS correctly. We just put 2 S's on it, so sorry. He'll correct me from time to time, and you just have to accept it, because I might have to kill him. Not really, okay? Anyway, so go to the downloads page, and you'll be able to download the presentation, right? And you can write on it, take notes on it, what we're doing. As well as if you look in your wonderful engineering design notebook that Moi created for you. Yes, I had sat there and go through all these wonderful pages. He created that little RFP thing in the beginning, whoop-dee, right? I created all those other pages. So that's the thing. You can also look in it, and every week, the entire thing we're going to talk about is probably in that book, right? So you can flip through the book and just work on it just perfect, okay? So that's a little housekeeping rule before we start, and that's for every video you see over the whole semester. Okay, with us. That's what you need to remember to do. Okay? So, this is the InSPIRESS project, right? Matt, what in the world does InSPIRE stand for?
That's a very good question, PJ. Excuse me.
As he
bubble. Anyway, so InSPIRE stands for the Innovative System Project for the Increased Recruitment of Emerging STEM Students. And STEM is also an acronym. This InSPIRESS is a nested acronym. It's got one inside of it. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. I have to use my hands to talk. But you can also see it at the bottom of this slide here. You can't read it from the video, but you can read it on your version. But basically, InSPIRESS is it's a engineering, it's a program where we hope to give high school students a taste of engineering and everything that surrounds it.
Okay.
Did that answer your question? I really don't know what I forgot what his question was halfway through it, but
That's what normally happens with him. Okay, so now that you understand what InSPIRESS is, and FYI, probably don't at this point because you don't remember, like, what did he really say?
His hands kept moving, I don't know.
But InSPIRESS is an acronym, okay? You're going to get to learn to speak in acronyms too. This is what NASA loves.
It's actually a backronym because we came up with the word we wanted and then we made an acronym.
Right, but it's also called a nested acronym because STEM is an acronym as well, right? So there's an acronym within an acronym. Whoa.
It's like Inception.
Okay.
I don't know.
Whatever he goes with.
Acroception.
Okay, so that's what InSPIRESS is, okay? So it's a program that we're going to work with you on, and you're going to do some really cool engineering stuff, but we're not after you all to be engineers. We don't want all of you sitting in the room going, I don't like that word engineering, okay? That's okay. If you don't like the word engineering, maybe you like the word scientist. Maybe you like the word, I don't know, chef. We'll see what we come up with.
I like the word integer.
But the point is, you don't have to be an engineer to like this program. We want you to understand that this is a project that is bigger than any one of you. So it takes a team to get it done. It's like it takes a village, right? And so what we're after is for you to understand you can complete this complex problem that we're giving you. Because it is. I mean, you're going to find out in a minute going, oh, these people are crazy. There's no way. And just FYI for you guys, right now, you are volunteered for this project from your teacher. So right now you can all look at them and smile real big and go, oh, thank you very much, right? But you can't be too upset because they're going to give you a grade and you want to make a good grade, right? So that's kind of what's going to happen. So this is InSPIRESS, like he said. Don't even know really if he said it or not.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in InSPIRESS? If I hit the button the right way, maybe we'll get it. So InSPIRESS is a challenge. We challenge you, right? Not in a bad way, in a good way. So we challenge you. And what the challenge is we want you to develop and design, what does it say? An autonomous scientific payload for a candidate NASA planetary science mission. What the world does that mean, correct? You're all saying, he said words, they might have been English, but we don't know, right? And probably with me, that might be a good idea to check on, just in case. So what we wanted to do is develop and design. So basically, we're going to take you through a process of where you're going to figure out what to do, right? So you're going to develop it and you're going to design it for us. And what you're going to design is an autonomous scientific payload. What that means is autonomous means you're on your own, okay? This year, we're going to Europa, right? It is, ta-da, we're going to give you a little preview here. Europa, right? It's one of the moons of Jupiter. It's a Galilean moon, meaning Galileo Galilei. That's a big word too, isn't it? Galileo Galilei found it. He was one of the dudes in, I think, 1610 went, hey, look up at there, there's one. Because he's Italian, so I can do the Italian right now. Europa is one of the moons of Jupiter. What's really cool about Europa is it could have some life. Not like life, no, not like that. It means like teeny, teeny, tiny little things, right? Like amoeba or something like that, some bacteria, some crazy stuff. Now, hopefully not Ebola. That's bad right now, right? But we want some good stuff. So it could have life on it. The really wild thing is that it could have an ocean underneath because it's really far out there. Jupiter's way, way out there. So it's really cold, but underneath could be like a liquid ocean. What NASA's recently found is there's these plumes. The stuff shoots up out of the ground, right? Up into space. And so maybe there's a way to get it. So that's our mission. We're going to go to Europa. So what you're supposed to do with this autonomy thing is we're going to get you to Europa. We're going to send you to Jupiter and Europa, right? And then we're going to say, get out. Bye-bye. We don't want to talk to you anymore. So we're going to make you be autonomous, so you must leave the spacecraft is really what that means. You're going to create a scientific payload. This is an experiment, right? So you're going to figure out some cool thing you want to do at either Europa or Jupiter or somewhere in between, right? And you're going to tell us what it is, right? But you get to pick it. That's the point. It's all you. You're in charge. So we want you to do that. And so the planetary science mission is the Europa Jupiter System Mission. We call it EJSM. I'm going to get a little bit tongue-tied here. So that's what we're after, right? So when you do this, what happens? Well, what you're going to do first is you're going to figure out the purpose of your scientific mission, right? Why do you want to go do this, right? No, you can't just say, well, because PJ and Matt told us to. Nah, that's not good enough, right? There got to be some cool, interesting reason why you want to go do this. So people, because remember on December 12th, you're coming back up here, there are going to be people sitting in the room going, so why do I care? What's the big deal? So you got to be able to tell them what's the big deal about this thing. And there's a lot of cool things to do. Jupiter, gigantic planet, right? Biggest one in the solar system. Got that thing called the big red spot. Big red spot, great red spot.
Great red spot.
Great red spot, right? Like the size of 3 Earths?
Mm-hmm.
3 Earths.
Roughly.
3 Earths, right? The spot is 3 Earths, right? Whoa, big deal, right? Big dude, right? Jupiter, big dude. So there's a lot of cool stuff to do. There's lightning, there's all kinds of stuff. So figure that out. That's the first part, right? Second part, we want you to understand the engineering design process. In theory, Matt and I teach, well, not in theory, we do teach.
Yeah.
We teach, in theory, the engineering senior design here at UAH.
We use the word teach very loosely.
Yes,
basically.
as you can tell, like when we say talking in a video,
Yeah.
very loosely.
So, okay.
So we teach engineering design here at UAH in mechanical and aerospace engineering
Yo.
and industrial and system engineering. Obviously the best. Remember this, always, mine's the best.
Better, there's two.
No, best. Best, always best. So we teach that, and so they go through the process. They're going to design this spacecraft that's going to go to Europa, all right? And so you're the hitchhiker that's going along. So what we're going to do is break down the engineering design process, because if we just said, design a payload, we'll see you in December, bye, you'd be going, what? How we do this? So we're going to break it down week by week, give you a little piece of it, and you're going to be able to do it. And I call it chunking. We chunk it up for you, and then you put it all back together like Legos, and wow, you got a cool thing, right? So that's what we're going to do with you over these whatever number of weeks till December 12th. What? 17?
17-ish.
17-ish weeks. So that's the second part. The last part is by far the most important thing.
It really is.
Okay? Because I don't care.
As you can tell from us.
Yeah. Because I don't care if you want to be an engineer or a scientist, a nurse, a doctor, or whatever.
Baker.
Policeman,
Candlestick
maker, whatever. Yeah. Any of that's cool with us, okay? But all of you have to realize that they're called the soft skills of life, that you got to be able to do them, okay? No matter what you are in life, you've got to be able to do this. So the first one is teamwork. It's team sport. Everything is a team sport now. There's no more, let me go type in my little computer in the cube and not talk to anybody, okay? That's out. No more. Got to be able to work on a team. The problems we face today are so complex, it takes a lot of people to get them to work together, to get it to work, right? And so we need a lot of people with a lot of thinking going on, figuring these problems out. So you got to learn how to work together, okay? However you decide, some high schools it's only one team, so you're all together anyway. At some other high schools, there's several teams in a classroom. And so however you decide to be put together on a team, maybe your teacher does it, maybe you self-select, you need to realize you don't want carbon copies of each other, okay? Because the team needs to bring, everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, we all do. My strengths are obviously the best compared to his, not so much. But I am the big picture guy. I'm obviously the one who talks the most. And so that's my strength. His is the boring details. That's what he goes to for. So you can tell, I don't like the details. But he does. It drives me crazy sometimes. Like sometimes I want to kill him again. But not really. So that's why we're going to make a good team. Because I worry about the big stuff and I'm always worrying about the future. And he's worrying about how we're going to do today. Okay? So that's the kind of stuff that we do. So that's what you'll have to do on your team. So you need to realize you're going to get on each other's nerves, like he does really big time sometimes. But I don't kill him because A, I'd have to go to jail, and I have 2 little girls and I really love them. So I won't do that. And B, it's just not cool, right? So
he needs me.
Yeah, right. So, but we learn to work together as a team and we know our strengths and weaknesses. That's what's going to happen on this team. Hopefully you come out of this knowing, I'm really good at blah and blah and blah. Fill in the blahs, right? Don't just say I'm good at blah because that's not ever going to mean anything. But if you can figure that out through this process, cool, right? That's what you should do. So that's the first thing. Second thing is presenting. We're doing an excellent job of that, by the way. But you got to be able to tell other people about your idea. Obviously in a coherent sentence. I don't know if I'm doing that real well or not right now.
Yeah, this is not the best example. Just do what we say, not what we do. Yeah, something like that.
So, learning how to present to people. And you're going to do that on Friday, December 12th. You're going to have a board or a review board of professionals in the field up here in aerospace, up here at UAH, who you're going to come see. And you've got to present to them in 20 minutes, convince them you have the best idea for going to Europa, right? So that's a big deal. And if you can learn how to do that in life, world is so much better for you.
Your
okay?
oyster.
Yep, it's beautiful. So that's a big deal. The third thing is reporting, okay? I knew at a very young age, I was in 5th grade when I knew I was going to be an aerospace engineer. I did not think English was important at all. I'll be quite honest with you, okay? I love math. I love science. Science, on the science side, I liked physics way more than I like chemistry. He's the weird dude who likes the physics, so get ready for him at the end. But
You said it backwards.
who? What?
You said you like physics.
Oh, I did? I like chemistry, sorry, not physics. He's the weird dude who likes physics, not me. Right? So those of you in chemistry class, haha, not in the physics class.
Can't see the colors. It's not. You can't see the colors.
Yeah, he says he's color.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah,
Just
it's a deal.
We'll just ask us.
It's
later.
a thing with him, right?
Okay.
But anyway, so English is very important.
It's a foreign language to most of us.
Yeah, me right now. So
Me,
English.
English, good.
So English is very important, no matter how much I hate to admit it. Okay. So my English teacher in high school, Ms. Stevens, is sitting there going, ha 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 ha, wherever she is, because I just did not care. I just did not care about writing papers and reports and stuff like that. But guess what? That's the way life is. You got to be able to report on things. So we're gonna make you do it, just to make you understand it's still important even when you leave English class.
Yep.
Right? So you're gonna report. You're gonna create a payload concept proposal for us by the end of the semester. Total of 9 pages. 1 with a title page, 8 pages of content. And you're going to be wishing you had more. Right now, you're probably going, 9 pages, that's easy. No. By the end of the semester, you're going to want to give so much more information than you can, okay? So, these 3 things, we put etc. down there, but not really. Teamwork, presentation, reporting, those are the dudes, right? That's the stuff. So, out of this, I hope you learned about payload design and engineering and NASA and a few other things in Europa and Jupiter along the way. But the big boys are those 3, right? If you can come out going, hey, I know how I react on the team. I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I can present now. I can talk to people, right? And 3, I can actually tell somebody in a written document what it's about. Those are the 3 things we're really after. So we hope we get that through.
It's all about good communication skills. Good communication is what separates the good from the great in anything. You know, obviously we're excellent communicators, but so yeah, I mean, like you said before, whether you're a baseball player, a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker, or a scientist or an engineer, or the president, who knows? Good communication skills are extremely important, and it's something that it's at the bottom of the list, but it's the most important thing really in there. It's also the hardest thing. You're gonna think, oh, payload design is so hard. No. The communication is the hard part. Trust me on this. The technical is the easy part. Communication is the hard part.
Yep. So we told you you're going to create a payload, right? This payload, we got to give you some constraints. We got to give you.
You don't know what a payload is yet.
No, they don't. But that's all right. So, but we said the payload. Remember, we talked about it. It's a science experiment, right? That's the point to it. I told them that.
Oh, sorry.
So it's a science experiment, right? So we got to give you some constraints. These are some things, because if you could just go woohoo and give us everything in the world. Can't do that. No. Not so much. So what we've done is giving you some constraints that you're going to have to live with. Now, in the end, you can come back and barter and say, hey, I might need a little bit more. And so then you've got to be able to justify that to us. But for right now, this is what you got to live with. First thing is mass, 5 kilograms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Cinco, yeah, Cinco de Mayo, that's right. Cinco. So 5 kilograms of mass, about 11 pounds-ish on Earth, right? But 5 kilograms of mass, what you got to live with. Volume. We didn't bring the box.
It's okay.
Volume is 44 centimeters by 24 centimeters by 28 centimeters, right? So it's about this big. What that is a 10-ream box of paper. You know why we chose that? Because it's prevalent in high schools. Wow, isn't that cool? So when you are stowed, when you're inside our spacecraft, all nice and snugly, right? That's how big you got to be. Once you're autonomous, once you leave us, you can be as big as you want to be, right? Go for a football field size. I don't care. Whatever it is. But inside, be all nice and snugly for us, okay? That's the second thing.
You don't have to get big. You can just stay that size if you want to.
Yeah, that's all right too.
You don't have to take up the entire volume. You can be smaller.
Yes. All those is true statements.
All those. All those is true statements.
Next, you have to survive the environment, okay? So what we mean by this is we're going to launch, and you're going to see next week when we come see you, a model of a launch vehicle, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but you got to go up into space with us. You got to go all the way to Jupiter, and you got to go to Europa with us, right? And then the biggest thing is, once we get you there and we say, bye, hasta luego, right? Sayonara, see you later.
Multilingual.
Exactly. Au revoir. I can even say it in French. Isn't that weird?
До свидания.
Right? So, especially once we get rid of you, once the spacecraft says bye in all those different languages, right? And probably even some more European, I don't even know it, or Jupiterian. So, you've got to survive that environment for sure, okay? And so, cold, probably cold, right?
Cold.
Ice, plumes, cracks everywhere if you go to Europa. If you go to Jupiter, whoa, the winds, whoo, lightning. Does it rain? No raining.
No raining.
No raining, right? But all kinds of crazy crap going on there. So you got to be able to survive it. Now, the deal is, what?
Radiation.
Radiation. Oh yeah, radiation. Jupiter can kill you quickly.
Cook you.
Yeah. So it's a bad, bad day. So you got to survive that though, right? But we don't need you to survive forever. We don't want you hanging out going, okay, what next? No. The second the payload, this you being the payload, right? The second the payload has done its primary mission. You've done your science objective, you sent your data back to UAH and went, whoo, it's really hot on Jupiter, right? Or it's really cold, whatever. All those different things. Once you're done, what we want you to do is just go to sleep and never wake up, okay? Or you can call it dying, okay? So not you, particularly you, the payload, right? When I say you, I mean the payload. The payload, we don't want you to go, no, don't do that. So the payload, after it's done, you just go and go to sleep and just never wake up. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful time for us, okay? So that's how long you got to survive. After that, once you go to sleep, who cares? Melt, crush, whatever. Freeze. We don't care. Freeze, yeah. It doesn't matter to us. Just don't worry about it, okay? That's the third thing. Fourth thing, you can't harm us. Okay, the UAH spacecraft, no.
Or us personally.
Yeah, us personally, I really don't want that. But the spacecraft is a no. Okay, there's two spacecraft. There's an orbiter. It's going to orbit Europa eventually. Hey, I know. Ooh. And then there's a lander.
What does it do?
Lands. See, engineers are not very inventive people. You can see this, right? So it lands on Europa. So these are big spacecraft that cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, so. We don't want you going all kamikaze on us, attacking us, terrorists. No. Terrorism, no terrorism.
It's just rude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, so don't do it.
Took you all that way, then you.
Yeah, then you come back on us and go, ha ha ha. No, don't do that, right? All that's off limits.
Seriously.
So you can't attack us, you can't go all kamikaze terrorists on us, nothing. Okay, all that's off the table. So just go away from us, just get away. That's the kind of thing we want now.
Because you have to be autonomous.
Yes, so get away.
Yeah.
Just get away, okay? Don't shoot back, no nothing. No, get away. So that's the goal. So those are the kind of it. I mean, that's the four things we're going to constrain. What?
No bangs or booms.
Oh, yeah, all right. And also, in the harm thing, no bangs, no booms, okay? Inevitably, one of you wants to go out with like a ball of fire. Like, woohoo, fireworks everywhere. No.
It's not cool.
Okay? No. We want you to be boring from that perspective. So just go to sleep, okay? That's the way it goes. So no bangs or booms, no harm, survive, we good, okay?
NASA's very anti-boom.
Yeah. Even though we have to do a lot of boom to get off the planet, right? After that, it's over. No more booms, no more bangs.
Booms are bad, okay?
Yeah, that's bad. So that's the four things. Besides that, it's all yours, okay? Did we tell you where you had to go?
Just sort of. So.
Well, yeah, Jupiter, Europa, but we didn't say one of them, right?
Yeah.
Did we tell you what you had to do when you get there?
No, definitely not.
Exactly. So that's all up to you.
We haven't told you much at all, to be honest with you.
Exactly. We've just been talking for like 20 minutes and nothing hasn't come out yet. So on the side here, if you could see it, but if you download it, like I said in the beginning, it'll be good. There's different pictures of things that have been designed before. These are actually things designed by the high school students that we've done this. Because believe it or not, we've actually done this for a few years. Might not seem like it right now, but we have.
We are professionals at whatever this is.
So look at those and go, that's what that is, right? These, you can tell a lot, engineers and scientists are very visually oriented. So when you start thinking about what this thing's going to look like, draw it. Either sketch it, draw it on a board, take a picture of it, or put it in some sort of like PowerPoint or paint or some sort of thing to make us be able to see it visually, right? That's what we're all about. So you might be asking yourself, how do planetary science missions happen? right?
I was just asking myself that this morning.
I know, and
It's
probably
so-
every one of you out there in video land are saying exactly the same thing.
So coincidental.
Right. I know, isn't
can't
that
believe
weird?
This is so fortunate for me.
I know.
Yeah.
So, how does this happen, Matt?
You're going to tell me. I just thought about it this morning.
See, I tried to surprise him and he didn't want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't going to take it there. So, because he should remember this because, we've done it for 6 years now. But, that's the way it is.
I don't like stealing this thunder.
Yeah. So, how this happens, it's a very long process, okay? From the beginning to the end is about 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that is
what?
Real, like, Earth years.
Yes, this isn't dog years. This is Earth years, okay? So, how it starts is we have to get all the planetary scientists together, okay? And this is the crazy thing. These scientists, I hope a lot of you watch Big Bang Theory. If you think about it, these scientists are a lot like Sheldon, okay? It's crazy. There's like 3,000 Sheldon in the world. Because I know this because they all descend on Houston, Texas every March for a conference, and I go see them. And I'm the lone engineer in the crowd going, I don't know what you're talking about. But these guys, these are planetary scientists. They're all over the world. They come together every 10 years. It's called the decadal study. And they determine what NASA should do for the next 10 years, okay? So NASA just doesn't go, hey, Jupiter's kind of cool, let's go there, right? No, these scientists sit down and debate, and they fight, but it's like, fight, not like boom, boom, fight, fighting, and they prioritize a list of places to go. Right now, Europa, big thing, okay? Number one, it's the dude right now, okay? So they want us to, did I say that dude is still?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so it's the dude.
Totes.
Yeah. So they want to go to Europa. So it was in this plan saying, hey, go to Europa, right? So they did that. So once they pick it, they bring together some more dudes, right? So these 3,000 then come down to about 100, and they say, hey, we're going to do your mission, like we're going to do Europa. So all the Europa planetary scientists come together and say, okay, what do we want to do when we get there? Do we want to look at the plumes? Do we want to look at this? Do we want to look at that? Do we want to look at this and that? And so they prioritize everything then. So they figure out what to do. So then they go get NASA involved, and they usually get the Jet Propulsion Lab. It's called JPL, out in Pasadena, California. You know anything about Big Bang Theory? That's where they are. It's at Caltech in Pasadena, California, which is JPL. So, really cool place. You should go visit them. Really neat, but it's extremely expensive. Yes, extremely expensive. But it's a neat place. Up in the mountains,
I
not
saw
in the hills.
Lamborghini once there, though. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's like LA, and then up in the mountains is JPL. It's really nice.
It's beautiful.
But so they go get them, and they create a spacecraft, okay? And so you can see some pictures of some spacecraft that we've actually developed here at UAH on the bottom left. It was like left corner of the screen. So they create the spacecraft, and then we build it. In the middle and the bottom is the Cassini spacecraft, okay? It went to Saturn. It's still at Saturn. It's the largest spacecraft we ever built.
It's huge.
For one thing, if you notice down in the corner, this is a man. He's about 6 foot tall. And he's itty bitty little teeny tiny man compared to this gigantic spacecraft, right? This is the biggest spacecraft we've ever built. It weighed 6 metric tons at liftoff, 6,000 kilograms.
Biggest interplanetary space.
When we sent it off the ground, yes. It also cost $2.2 billion to make the thing. So it's a very expensive, very big spacecraft, right? So we build it, and then we ship it to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It's right off of the coast. It's on the coast of Florida, about an hour east of Orlando, where Disney World is, where I go a lot. And so we put them on top of big, huge rockets. We call them launch vehicles, and then we send them into space. Okay, so that's how long this, and that's what it takes to get this mission. So from the beginning with the decadal survey, all the way to the end of launch is about 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky, so after this, if you go, oh, I want to be a planetary scientist, or oh, I want to be a planetary engineer, I want to create spacecraft, you get only a few of these, in your time. So they're like the precious, I mean, that's like that thing, they really want these things because there's only a few in their lifetime. So it's really cool. So that's how that happens, right? So now this is how a planetary science mission happens.
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly, according to G.I. Joe.
The more you know.
Yep. So here are some previous designs on the next chart, because I'm sure you're still wondering what in the world is a payload, right? So here's some designs that we've seen before that were like, that's kind of interesting. Because if you notice, there's a theme going. What happens in a lot of cases is people go, this works really well on the ground here on Earth. Let's just make it now work in space. Kind of makes sense, right? So if you look up here in the left corner, right, this was called, oh crap, don't remember the name.
Dual inhaler device.
Okay, say it.
The dual inhaler device.
Why did I have to tell
The
me to
did.
tell you? Right? And so what this is, the dual inhaler device,
The did.
the guy, the chief engineer, was asthmatic. So what he did was look at his inhaler and go, hey, that works so good. Let's make a thing, just a big inhaler. And it shot out probes on the moon, wasn't it? Okay, so then we got an arm here, so people can do arms, right? We got a rover kind of tracked vehicle, like a tank.
Teeny tiny, little bitty.
Like a mini tank, right? So we got some of those. We got all kinds of stuff. We got some, what would be the best? Projectiles, yeah. They shot out little projectiles, little like bullet like things out and buried in the ground, right? And that's what they did. Now, this is kind of a funny one here, the do no harm thing. We used to not have that as a requirement. And so they had this thing turned down to look at us. So it would shoot and go bam, 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 and hit us as a spacecraft. That's a bad idea, right? Ding, 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 ding. No, bad.
It's not cool.
So this one over here in the left corner.
Bottom right.
Bottom right corner. This thing looks interesting, but what it was is it was a gumball machine. He gotta stop laughing now. It is based off a gumball machine, so you can see it as he walks off camera right now, just for the fun of it, because he can't stop. It's a mechanism just like a gumball machine, right? And gumball machines work really well on Earth, so they just figured that out. What's really cool about this thing is they drew this entirely in PowerPoint. So that and this up here in the right side of the screen. Say left, right again. Right side of the screen. That was all drawn in PowerPoint. That's really cool to be able to do something like that.
That's impressive.
Yes. So those are just a few of the designs we wanted to show you, because you're going to start thinking about this as we've stopped laughing. More and more, you're going to think about things that work really well on Earth, and then can you use some of those things to be able to create your payload and get it up to you.
Time out. What you notice here also is that, as PJ was saying, the right side of the screen here was drawn.
Which one is this?
This is the right.
Okay.
Was drawn in PowerPoint and in Word, just basically Office type stuff. These were drawn in CAD, computer aided design, and they used Solid Edge. And we're going to give you a copy, if you want it, of Solid Edge ST7 this year. You don't have to learn how to use CAD, but it's all about, like we said, communication is the toughest part about this entire project. Communication is the hard part. Engineers are very visual. This helps to communicate your idea. The dual inhaler device was actually animated. So when they presented it at the final review, you can actually see the projectiles go down the chute and then go out, and go down the chute and go out, and how it worked. So it helped explain their story. It's all about communication. I mean, we don't just have you guys draw these things just because we're sadistic or because we have stock in some company or something. No. We want you guys to communicate your ideas to the board, and pictures, animations. The better the picture, the more it explains, the better it is for you guys, and the easier time you have explaining your idea to people. And so I'm kind of forgot where I was going with this, but communication. This is all about communication. You don't have to use CAD. CAD helps you out a lot. It'll also help you with some calculations. We'll talk about that later too. But you can just draw this in standard Office applications as well. But it's all about communication. It's all about telling your story.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to divide into teams. We talked about that before with the teamwork thing, right? Like I said before, some high schools have one team. You're already on a team. Congratulations. Some other high schools are going to break into different groups. You're going to separate into teams. So we need to understand the team structure, right? You need to notice one thing first at the top, right? It's called teacher, okay? He or she, Mr. or Mrs., whatever they are in that classroom, they are the ultimate chief, okay? We're going to tell you some stuff to do. We're going to tell you due dates, right? If they tell you a different due date, obviously before ours, that overrides us, right?
They're the boss.
They're the boss. We don't grade you. We're just going to be along for the ride, going to have some fun, as you can tell. We're going to laugh a lot, and we're going to have a good time here. But they're the ones that are in charge, okay? Always remember that. So no matter what, they're in charge. Underneath the teacher is a project manager, okay? So this is the more outgoing person, the person who's going to rally the team, keep them going. I used to call them the cheerleader, and someone thought I actually meant they had to be a cheerleader with the pom-poms and all that. No, they're just the person, because over this semester, there's going to be some weeks you're going to be going, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not anymore. Especially when you have to hear videos from him all the time. Or you're going to try to quit. But this person's just going, no, it's all right. Matt's a little crazy, but it's all right. We can work with it. That kind of thing. That's what we're after. Okay. So that's the person, and that is the person who's going to talk to UAH, because the person I didn't put, it's like the ninja. There's a program manager, and those are some undergraduate students that are going to work for me, and their job is to help you guys and to work with you guys. So they're going to talk to the project manager a great deal. Okay. So that's somebody who has access to email, can talk to people a lot, can explain what's happening, that kind of thing. So the PM is kind of the people person. The chief engineer, otherwise known as the chief geek, which will be him, they're the technical person. They're the ultra technical person. Okay? So they know every little nugget, every little detail of what the design is, and they also have to worry about what's called the CEA, the community engagement activity. We haven't talked about that yet, but that person has to be able to know all the technical details of all of it.
All right.
Are you going to say something?
If the bell rings between classes at your school, right? And so if you
No,
know,
really?
yeah, typically they do. Or
Okay.
some schools don't have bells actually. We found that out last year.
Yeah.
But if the bell rings and you know the fastest route to get from your class to the restroom, or to your locker or wherever, and then back to the next class, you might be a chief engineer, okay? Or some sort of geek on the team. Just there comes a point in your life where you just need to accept it, and not just accept it, but relish it, revel in it. Say, I'm a geek, and I'm actually proud of that, because it's going to get me employed later in life. And so just run with it. So what are you doing behind my back?
Nothing at all.
So there you go. Don't be ashamed of it. Just just geek pride. Just I had Dr. Pepper earlier. I'm good.
I know. You notice that he has to have a lot of Dr. Pepper.
Oh gosh.
So also when we said chief geek, every one of you looked at somebody.
Yeah, you did. I know you did.
So that's it. That's
And
the
one
dude.
person went like this.
Yep. So that's the person, right? So that's the chief engineer of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have two products, as we call them, right? We have the design, the payload design, okay? So this is the thing we've been talking about so far. So it's going to be the thing that goes to Europa or Jupiter, conducts some sort of science experiment, collects the data, sends it back to the UH spacecraft, and then, remember, dies, right? Goes to sleep, doesn't wake up. So that's one product. So over that product is called a design lead. So that's the next
Tier.
yeah, something like that. So the next person below who's sort of geeky but didn't have to be all the way geek, right? So they're the design lead. So they're in charge of the design and making sure everything works together. And they have a group of people who work on the design itself. Okay, and we'll talk about what those different groups are going to do in a minute. The other side, the other product that we have is called the community engagement activity. What we want you to do is over this semester, you're going to design, you're going to plan everything about it, and also do it. You're going to create an event or events where you go out in the community and you talk about this project and you talk about Europa and Jupiter and all that stuff. What we normally see is most people go to the middle school and elementary school and talk to the other kids about it, but you have to do it.
And it's not just talking. You can have demonstrations.
Yeah.
Demos. I mean, this is. We'll talk more about it in the coming weeks, or just a second, actually, too. But Europa.
It's like in a few slides.
Interesting. Okay, I'm just stealing his thunder a little bit. See, I told you he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So. Well, Europa's a really interesting place.
Because he doesn't look ahead and read the slides.
Interesting. I never read the slides. So Europa has some interesting demos you can do.
So that's the point, right? So product one is the payload design. Product two is the community engagement activity.
On the right side.
Both are very important because that's how you win. Okay, this is a competition.
Mm-hmm.
If I haven't told you that before, I don't think we have.
Probably haven't.
It's a competition between high school teams. Not the ones in your room.
Nope.
Other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mm-hmm. But that's how you get scored, is how well you did on these two things. Okay? So
it takes both.
It takes both, right? So a community engagement activity lead is the chief of that activity, right? Those events and planning and making sure all that works out. And they have a group of people responsible to them that are going to work together on it. Okay?
So the CEA requires organization, requires planning, skills, maybe not the geeky type technical stuff that's on the design side, but still organization and skills.
Right.
And it's a design, but it's a different type of design. You're designing an event. You're not designing a payload.
Right. And one thing I want to remind you, the project manager, if you notice, they are at the top. Everybody links to them, even the teacher, right? So the buck stops with them, as Harry Truman used to say, right?
Who was
Buck stops
president?
here. He's the president. in the 50s, 40s,
Drop
40s.
a bomb.
Yeah, on Hiroshima, bad idea. But anyway, so project manager, right? So that is the person that in the end is ultimately responsible for this entire operation to make it work, right? Teacher might be at the top, but he or she's grading, not really in charge of that team, okay? So if the team fails, PM responsible, okay?
Team does well.
PM responsible. So everything rests with that PM,
Boom.
okay? So the design job, which is the design group, right? So they're going to select a science objective for the payload, okay? It can be from a list provided because yours truly over here is going to bore you to death with a lot of science objectives in a couple of videos from now.
Awesome.
Yep. But he's got a list and he's geeked out on this list and he's figured out all the different things you could do.
Checked it twice.
Yeah. So you could do those from that list. Or you can go, Matt's crazy, he's been smoking something. So we're going to create our own objective.
In Colorado, where it's legal.
Yes. In Oregon now, right?
I have no idea.
Oregon,
Washington State.
one of them, yeah, one of them out there. So,
The
or you
West.
can develop, or you can develop your own. So, up to you. You're then going to develop a logical flow. We call it the science traceability matrix. Okay, that shows the link between the objective and basically what you need to, what data you need to meet the objective. So it's going to go from I'm going to do this all the way to this is the instrument I need to do this with. Okay, so you're going to figure out that. You're then going to figure out your engineering requirements that are imposed on your payload. So we have UAH constraints that we've given you, right? The 5 kilograms, the volume, the survive, and no, don't be a terrorist, right? Environments, what do they look like? Have you got acid rain coming down on you? Hopefully not. Are you on? Hopefully not, because if you are, you're on the wrong planet.
It's wrong place.
So don't do that. So if we see that in there, we're going bad.
Yeah.
That's not right.
It's going to be frozen.
Yeah, functions. So functions. What are the things that you have to do to make this work? You got to put those on there. And then, of course, science, right? All this stuff you did up here are requirements because you chose it. It's going on your payload. So it's a requirement. So all that's got to be done. Then you're going to do some alternative solutions. So you now have decided what you want to do, right? Now you got to decide how you're going to do it. Okay? So from here on down, the how comes into play. Turns out, a billion different ways to do it. Okay? It's no longer 1 + 1 = 2. Okay? That's off the table. That's what's really cool about this project, and probably what's the most frustrating thing about this project is 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 anymore.
The answer's not in the back of the book.
Yeah, it's like a billion answers. You're sitting there going, what? 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2? What's the deal here? It's a whole new math, okay? It's a whole new era.
A + B = K through M.
Yeah, what he said. So you're going to develop some alternative solutions, is what we call them, to meet the challenge, to design. Then you're going to choose the best solution, okay? Best we put in quotes because best is in the eye of the beholder. So what does that mean, right? You got NASA, you got UAH, you got all these other people you never met before. So how do you determine what's best for them, you know? So we'll walk you through the process. And it's kind of fun. You get to buy a car. Not really, but in fake world, right? So we'll go after that. Then you're going to refine your design. This is where the geek comes into play, okay? Physics, whew. All right, some physics are involved. Engineering analysis is what we call this stuff. So you're going to learn how to use all the equations in physics. You're going to learn how to do some equations in physics you ain't never heard of before yet. All this is coming from this dude over here because this is not my thing. I get bored with this part. So he comes in and he geeks out and he's all over the board and it's fun.
It's really fun.
For him, not me. And then at the end, we want you to kind of figure out a prototype of this payload, right? We're all visual. Engineers especially are visual people. So once you come up with a prototype, it doesn't have to be the actual thing. It could be out of styrofoam.
Most are made us.
Yeah, or what's that stuff called? Cardboard, something like that, right? That's the kind of thing you want to be able to show the judges on the 12th, December 12th.
You can 3D print it if you're cool.
Yeah, that's right. Some cool stuff too. But you can say, look at my little payload, look how it looks, and blah, 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 and go inside and tell them all about it, you know? That's the kind of thing we want you to do. So this is kind of some pictures. I'm sure you cannot see this on the screen, but we've been talking, when we go talk to people, we'll come see you and we'll talk about with you, and there's kids just doing some fun stuff and going, ooh, look how fun this is. So that's the technical part of it.
This is engineering. That's what
Yes.
this slide shows.
Kind of boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
So communications is also a part of the design group now. And so what you've got to do, remember we talked about these written documents, that reporting thing, right? This semester we have the interface control document. It's due at the payload status review. This is going to be the place where you document all of your requirements. And you're going to give it to us here at UAH and say, we understand our requirements now. we're going to say, no, you don't. Or yes, you do. You're good. And we'll sign it and give it back to you. So that's the first part. The second part is called the payload concept proposal. It's a part of the competition and how you win. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is 8 pages. There's a cover page and then 8 pages of content in there. It's the thing that's evaluated by the UAH students here that are in his class. Okay, and my class. That's right, I got it too. In both our classes. Most of them will have never heard of you or seen you in life. Okay? So this document is the only way you're going to talk to them. So it's got to be perfect. And that's the big deal. Okay? Because it's really tough to be able to know what someone's going to read and go, what the, or, that's interesting. You don't know how that's going to work. So that document is very important. So make sure you've got some people who can edit well. I mean, go get the English teacher to look at it and go, oh, no, or, yeah, that's a good document. That's the kind of thing.
Give it to your parents or something.
Yeah, impress your parents with it. There's also briefings. You're going to talk to people, okay? There's three big reviews that you're going to do. 2 are internal to the team and to UAH, right? The payload status review is no more than 10 minutes. The payload concept review is no more than 20 minutes. And that's your time to talk to some of the students at UAH about what you're doing and get their feedback, okay? Because they're designing the big spacecraft, so they're going to be able to go, you want to do what? And so they'll give you some feedback. They'll tell you how you're presenting, whether or not you're doing a good job at it, because they're critical, that's for sure. So you get to do those 2 reviews with them. Then on Friday, December 12th, you come up here for the final review, which is no more than 20 minutes. It's evaluated by the local aerospace industry, we say it. The local aerospace companies, NASA, the Army, everybody comes over here. They enjoy doing this. Mm-hmm. And so they get to hear you. That's the first and only time they hear you, okay? So you got to make sure that's a good review. That's a good presentation, because that's how you win, is these things, okay?
That's why we give you these good examples of presentation.
Exactly. That's why this is all important.
Exactly.
So that's a part of the design group. Remember that design group. You're not only doing all this wonderful technical stuff, but you got to be able to talk about it too. So reporting and briefing, a part of that. So you can see here, there's people presenting. So you got all the presentations going on. You can see down here, actually, this is one of the prototypes that were being shown to the review board. So you can walk around. You can actually go up to them and talk to them and touch them. They won't kill you. They might bite, but it's not too bad.
Be careful about touching them.
Yeah, don't touch too much. Don't go, don't nothing. Don't
ask first.
Yeah. So you can see also the documentation and the reviews and all that kind of stuff.
This prototype was simply a wooden ball that they bought at Hobby Lobby, and they cut it in half, and they put aluminum foil on the outside of it because it looked like it belonged in space, right? Because anything with aluminum foil looks like it belongs in space. And then they put little, this one was, they got a cordless phone. Like a home phone? You don't have home phones anymore? They got an old cordless phone that was broken. They ripped the guts out of it, and they put it in this hemisphere, the half ball. And then they treated it like it was gold. They're like, oh, and they totally sold it. They're like, this is the processor, this is our thermocouple, this is just beautiful the way they did it. It was all fake. It was all just stuff they bought at Hobby Lobby and found on the street and stuff, But it worked, and it helped communicate their idea to the board. The board loved it. This team did very well. So, proceed.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the second part is engaging the community, right? This is the CEA side of the house. And so in that, you've got to create the team identity, right? So you can see back here, there's logos, there's names, right? They didn't just say, hey, we're Scottsboro Team 1. That's kind of boring, right? These were Team Permafrost, and they created the logo.
And their slogan was put it in competition on ice.
Right? So that's the identity part. So we want you to come up with a name, something really catchy, something really cool, right? I'll go ahead and tell you one right now. A cool few years ago, we had one called Team Eruption, right? That was their name. Because they were going to the volcanoes, explore the volcanoes on Titan. They wanted to see if they were there, right? Their logo looked like a volcano and had little stuff coming out of it, really cool.
Actually stole it
right?
from a sports team.
Yep. And then their slogan was the catchiest part of all. We call this the catchphrase that people are going to go, huh, right? Because like Team Permafrost was putting the competition on ice. Ooh, right? So Eruption, right? The Team Eruption, their logo looked like a volcano. And their slogan was, we kick ash. See, everybody went, did he say a bad word? No, ash. But see, that's what, 2 or 3 years ago now? Yeah. I still remember that slogan because of how like, whoa, oh.
It's provocative.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing you want. Don't say dirty words, right?
No.
But do something like that, because you know Miss Cochran's going to be on there soon. No dirty words.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the slogan, that's something you're going to come up with. So this team works on that. You're going to create the poser. Supposed to say poster. There should be a T in there. Poster for open house poster session. That's why it's called the open house poster session. Yeah, the poster. So you're going to create the poster for the open house poster session. This is going to be the only way you're going to communicate basically to people at the open house, which is going to happen also on Friday, December 12th. So that's going to be a big deal, and there's a lot of requirements about that we'll talk about later. Then you got the activities you're going to plan, right? You're going to plan the activity that engages the community. You're going to keep your teacher involved in the process the whole way through.
Make sure that he or she knows what you're doing.
Yep, you're going to execute the event. Make sure you document it and survey the visitors. We have a visitor survey that you must give every one of them, because your goal is to get 500 people at your events, and the only way you can count them is that they take the survey.
Right.
So you need them to do that.
No survey, no visitor.
Right. You're going to report on the event and the payload concept proposal. You're actually going to give us a document we're calling the CEA plan halfway through with the ICD as well. And you're going to submit a summary of your CEA visitor survey data. So all that stuff has to happen. Then, on top of that, you got briefings. So you can give us a description of your plan or your idea at the payload status review, and you're basically going to summarize it in both the open house poster session, the payload concept review, and the final review. So you too have to talk as well.
Yes.
Okay? And so you can see different pictures of different things they've done in the past. It's totally open. There have been some really cool ideas from this that we couldn't even begin to imagine. We're not that creative of people anyway. So it's better that you guys just take this over and do it. But the number one thing is teacher involvement. Make sure he or she knows what you are doing and approves of what you're doing. But you're in charge of doing it. Okay? Not the teacher. Don't sit there and go, well, Mr. So-and-so didn't do blah, blah, so we didn't do it. No, sorry, tough luck. It's your job. Get it done.
Let's go over a couple of those real quick.
Okay.
This was one of the first ones we ever did, was at a high school that we're working with this fall, actually. And it was
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. It was another ice moon, and they wanted to see what happened when a projectile going very quickly hit ice. What happened to the ice? What would it do? How would the ice react? And what shape of projectile gave the biggest splash of ice? And so they actually got a pellet gun and they shot blocks of ice in their school. The best part about this picture, there's a student with a gun right
Pellet
there
gun.
with a pellet gun, and the sign behind him says no gum. So the gun's cool, but absolutely no gum at all.
But they worked out with their safety resource officer, safety resource officer,
Yeah, SRO.
SRO, the teacher, everybody was involved, so they got permission to do this.
Yes, they did this.
That is a big deal.
And
Permission.
the reason it was a CEA, if it was just the team, it would not have been a CEA. This picture is not a CEA. This picture right here is the same event. There were all these middle and elementary school kids. I can't remember what age they were. They were involved. They watched this testing. That becomes a CEA when people that are not involved in the project anyway come to your event. That is a CEA. If it's just your team, that's just a team meeting, or that's just an experiment. That doesn't count as a CEA.
Yep.
This is a presenting to other students. We've had several teams. We actually recommend you doing this as the semester gets closer to the end. Practice your final presentation in front of other people, other groups of students, other teachers, that type of thing. When you present to them, that it becomes a CEA. However, it doesn't matter unless you give them a survey and they fill the survey out and give it back to you, okay? So remember, there were no visitors if there were no surveys. If there were surveys, there were visitors.
They didn't exist.
Yeah, nothing.
Yep.
Again, parents' night. This is the same sort of deal, but this is with students. This is with parents. Here's another parents' night at another high school that is with us this semester again.
That one is too.
Yeah, that one is too. Actually, you're right. And that one actually has half the word in it. So again,
At the end.
you figure it out. So and again, another parents' night over here. So this
And
is
one there, too.
and one there. Lots of parents' nights at the bottom.
Yes,
It
that's
says
cool.
parents' night actually.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
If I didn't, I would read it. So you don't have to have a parents' night. I made the slide a long time ago. It doesn't have to be a parents' night, but those are the kind of things that we've done in the past. Again, like PJ said, some of the more common ones, the high school teams go and visit a middle or elementary school classroom or go to the gymnasium and have a bunch of classes and stuff like that. and they do demonstrations or they give presentations. It's a lot of fun. The students, the elementary and middle school students, end up loving it because you guys, I know you know this already, but you guys are rock stars in a middle school kid or an elementary school kid's eyes. So when you guys show up to the classroom, they're like, oh, high school kids, oh, high school, so whatever. Anyway, so those are some examples, stuff that's been done in the past. But remember, it doesn't count unless they give you back a survey.
So also we have leadership.
Leaders.
Right? The last one, the PM, chief engineer kind of thing. These people keep the team motivated and on task, right? They develop and continue to update a schedule of the project. I suggest looking at that whole book that the PM and the chief engineer do and kind of start thinking about, okay, we got to get this done, this done, this done. And keep action items. Assign people to do things. Keep everybody on task. That's what you got to do.
There's weekly tasks. We have calendars online you can download. There's no reason to be off schedule.
Right, and the program managers at UAH will also help you do that. They'll help guide you and do that with you. They got to understand all the project requirements. They've got to understand all the competition rules and procedures because we got a lot of them. You got to understand all the evaluation criteria for each review and deliverable. And bottom line is they make sure all deliverables are submitted on time. Because there are consequences, and we will tell you about these later on. There are consequences for things not be given on time. Some of them are disqualification and you're out, right? But they don't happen until the end of the semester. So you'll have busted your butt this whole semester, and if you don't put things right on time, then it's over for you. That's really stupid.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. So project managers and chief engineers, you're in charge of making sure it all gets in, okay?
And that means ultimately deciding if you're not the person who actually uploads the file, then you've assigned someone to upload the file. We had a team that said that they just didn't upload it last year, sorry. And I was like, that's stupid. So make sure that someone's either assigned to upload it or that you as the leader upload it.
Yep. So we said this is a competition, right? So how do you win? That's the bottom line. Because now if you're competing, you want to know what's the deal here, right? Mm-hmm. So there's 4 different things that you're scored on. First thing is the open house poster session. It's 20 points out of 100, okay? It's with the local community as the audience. So you're going to come here in that lobby where I was talking. Matt was there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're going to... You're going to talk about what you did over the semester, both your design and your CEA, and that's on December 12th. Likewise, the payload concept proposal is the document that you're going to write, the 9 pages, 1 title page, 8 technical. It's worth 20 points. The students that the 2 of us teach are going to review it, and they review that between November 26th and December 3rd, right? So obviously you're going to turn it in on November 25th. Ta-da!
Boom.
So right before Thanksgiving, before you go off and have your turkey, you're going to submit this document for us to look at. The final review presentation, that's the big boy. He gets 50 points because it's a big deal to be able to present to people. And I'm losing my voice right now while I'm talking to you. So you got to be able to present to people. So let's get to 50 points. It's these external people to you, to us, to everybody that come in, they take time off from their busy schedules, and they watch you for 20 minutes. And so you've got to sell them on your idea for your payload and what you did for your CEA. That's on December 12th as well. So these 2 things actually happen simultaneously. So that's kind of fun. And then last but not least is just the data that you get for the CEA. Okay, CEAs, your events. That's 10 points is the maximum you can get for that. You get 1 point for every 50, right? 50 visitors that you get surveys back from, because that's the only way one counts. And that's due on December 8th. So combined, this is how you win, okay?
It's 100.
100, if we did our math right. We hope we did, yeah.
56, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So presentation, big boy, PCP, and the open house poster session, right? So we're also going to give awards for all of those as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for things to happen. The three, yeah. So there's going to be divisions because we don't want you competing inside the classroom, right? Because several high schools have several teams. So we want to make sure that you don't have competition in the classroom. We want you to be able to help each other. So there's 4 divisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
4.
And there's going to be 3 to 4 teams per division. We're still not sure because we don't have all the numbers in yet. So everything's not set in stone yet. So it's 3 to 4. We'll tell you in the next few weeks exactly who you're competing with. But again, no one competes inside the classroom with each other. You're encouraged to help each other is the whole point. You want your high school to bring home every first place trophy they can.
Yep.
And so for several high schools that have done this in the past, you can look around and see your teacher has won some things because they display their trophies. They are very proud of this and they want you to do it again. Mm-hmm. So that's the goal, is to win as many trophies as possible for your high school.
Yep.
So there's stuff for you to review. You know, this is school, we got to start giving you assignments. Mm-hmm. So there's things you can start reviewing. So in the front of your book, the thing that he created is the request for payloads. It basically tells you the requirements and constraints of the project. It's going to tell you what you got to do for the competition. It's going to give you format guidelines for everything we're doing. Okay? Mm-hmm. Also going to look at the website. Remember what I said, www.inspires.org, right? It's got templates and other stuff for you to use. It's got past projects and events. It's got everything. So go out there and look at it. Understand how it works. Make sure you get the downloads page down and you got the uploads page down, right? Because the downloads page, be quiet. The downloads page is where you're going to download everything. The upload page is where you're going to upload everything to us, right? Make sure you can see that. You totally get it first thing up. Because if not, then talk to Matt when he comes down because he's the one who created the website.
Yeah. If you say to yourself, man, I wish I could download a template. I wonder where it is. If you use the word download in the sentence, then it's going to be on the downloads page.
Right. So that's out there. So assignments, what we need you to do before we come see you. You got some forms. They're in the left pocket of the engineering design notebook, right? Open up the notebook, left pocket, right?
Sure,
Left pocket, right? So there's some forms. There's a permission form you need to take home to your students, your parents, okay? There's a letter that says, hi, we're Ma'am PJ, we're going to do this cool stuff with your kid, blah, 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 right? Of course. The second page is a permission form because in the state of Alabama, while you think you are an adult, the state goes, so sorry, not close.
Nope.
You got to be 19. So take the permission form home, have your parents sign it, fill it all out, bring it back to your teacher because we need those back from you. And also they have a survey to do. It's called the Attitude Toward Engineering Survey. We need for them to do it. There's 2 ways they could do it. They can do it, fill it out right there, do it all in pencil or pen. And if they do that, you're going to go and look on the computer and you're going to fill it out online for us. Or B, they can just go online and do it too. They need to remember to use the ID that is listed on the form, because it's on the top, it says ID, whatever. And plug that number in, that ID in. That is linked to you, because we don't know who each of you are. All we know is these IDs. The only person who knows the ID and the person, the matchup, is the teacher.
But they don't see the surveys.
Yes, they don't see the surveys. See what I'm going for
So it is
here?
impossible for anyone to track your survey answers or your parents' survey answers back to you.
Right. So that's the goal. So then we want you to do the surveys. We want you to go to the InSPIRESS website, click on the surveys page at the top, and do the parent survey, and if you have to, enter your parents' data as well. But again, this is anonymous.
You said you do the student survey.
Yes.
And if your parents didn't enter their data online, you enter their data for them.
Sorry, yes. I get a little excited here.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do. But again, these are totally anonymous. Nobody knows the whole picture, right? We get the data and the ID. The teacher gets student and ID, but no data, right? So nobody's got all 3 components here. So tell us the truth, right? The survey is, I like math, I like science. If you don't like them, tell us you don't like them, okay? That kind of thing. So you've also, we talked about these roles and responsibilities on the team, but pages 7 and 8 in the book also give you exactly the same thing. So go think about those positions you'd like to do. Get your team together, and we strongly suggest you go out and get a team email. Go to Gmail. Go create a Gmail account. Therefore, all of you can talk to the program manager up here at UAH that way.
Create one for your team.
Yeah, it's just simple. It's in the book of how to do it. Okay? I think that's it. So, hopefully this has been entertaining. It's almost been an hour by my looking back at the clock here at UAH. So hopefully you've gotten a little out of this and you understand what to do. We'll come down and see you next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Talk to you then.
Thanks.
Bye.
By the way, you're supposed to be confused right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.